guys, it's Brad from LightArchitect. In this video, we're going to be taking a look once again at Wonder Studio by Wonder Dynamics. In the last video, we tested a pretty basic shot with Wonder Dynamics and it gave us a pretty impressive result fairly quickly. However, in this video, we're going to be challenging the software with a little bit more difficult live action shots to see how it handles things that aren't so simple. So I'm going to try out two shots in Wonder Studio. The first one will be this gymnast in a hazy environment here, and the camera moves still pretty basic here, something we could track inside of Blender. But you can see she does a flip here at the end of the sequence. So this is where we're really going to test out how well the motion capture of Wonder Studio works when it isn't such a basic movement. So we're going to be testing out this piece of footage as well as an even more complex one here. This one, our character is occluded by a lot of our foreground elements in the scene, which I have a feeling might give it some issues, but we're gonna see how it does overall. So I just wanna test out Wonder Studio to see how it does in these two scenarios. So go ahead and close this here and we'll navigate to our browser. As you guys probably know, if you watched our last video on Wonder Studio, the Wonder Studio is done all within your browser, and then it gives you the exports based on the version that you have paid for, whether that be your motion capture data, the character pass, the alpha matte, the clean plate, or the blend file. In the last video, it was apparent that they still haven't perfected the camera tracking aspects of Wonder Studio, which I think will definitely help in the future. If they do that, then we have a full 3D scene that we can work with that's already tracked, and we can import that data inside of Blender and then recreate more things within the computer and have a lot more control in addition to the outputs that it gives us. So we'll go ahead and go to our Wonder Dynamics page here and we'll click on create new project. And I just have the live action easy version here. So I'll go ahead and click on continue. And first we'll try our gymnast shot. So I'll go ahead and drag this video to our upload video area and upload it into the software. And now that we've done this, we can drag this into our timeline. And it should offer us a preview here in a second. And now we have our footage in our timeline here. We can play through it like so. And now we want to select our gymnast here so that we can replace her with a CG character of our choice here on the right side. So I'll go ahead and click on next. So now you can see here it's prompting us to choose the actor. So we can click on scan frame for actors and it should find our character here. There we go. So it's found our actor, and now I can select this box and we can expand the character library here and choose a character that we want. So maybe we used the Beastie Bot last time. Maybe we'll choose a different character this time. I'm thinking either Sandy or Sam here. Maybe we'll go with Sandy here. So click on her and click assign. And now you can see we've assigned Sandy to be where our gymnast is here. And now we can click on next and we can choose some of our project settings here. Again, I'm going to render in 720p format of MP4. We have a variety of different exports to choose from here. As I mentioned, the camera track doesn't exist yet during the time this video was released. Hopefully they'll have that soon, but I do want to export the clean plate and the Blender scene. And this is the basic form of Wonder Studio, so we can't use the alpha mattes yet in this scenario. So we'll go ahead and export just the clean plate and the Blender scene for this scenario. I might as well go ahead and export the motion capture data as well. And I'll click on start processing and let's see what Wonder Studio creates for us. And as you can see here, it's going to take around 73 minutes to process our shot. So we'll go ahead and upload our other shot that we want to test out as well. So again, I'll create a new project. I'll continue here and I will find the other shot we want to test, drag it into our upload area. And now that it's uploaded here, we'll select it and drag it into our timeline. All right, so now we've dragged our footage into our timeline here. And as you can see here, this one's gonna be a little bit trickier because there are some elements in the foreground that will occlude our actor. And obviously we don't expect Wonder Studio to do that roto work for us. However, let's just see if it gets a good track of our character so that we can then do the cleanup on it in our own compositing software of our choice. So I'll go ahead and click on the next button here. And now we want to scan the frame for actors. So I'll go ahead and choose this frame right here because we have a clear view of our character here, maybe a little bit further like so, and then I'll click on scan frame for actors. And as you can see here, it has found our actor. Let's select this box and then we'll open up our character library and choose a character for us. I'm thinking we'll choose our Sandy character again. We'll select our box here, click on Sandy, and then now as you can see here, we have Sandy assigned to this actor, and now we just have to wait for the frame scanning to finish. So hopefully it can find our character throughout the course of our timeline. Let's see how it handles this. Alright guys, so it looks like our second footage test isn't going to work this time because it still says frame scanning in progress before we can get to the next step where we actually choose how we're going to render out our file. So my guess is the occlusion of our actor in the beginning of the shot makes it very difficult for Wonder Dynamics to detect our character, which makes sense. However, I thought maybe there would be something where the CG character would show up when the live action one did, but I guess it seems like I've given this a fair bit of time here. It doesn't seem to be working this time, so I'm gonna just go ahead and check out the other shot and see how it's doing, and we'll just see how the motion capture works for that more irregular movement. And I'm going to conclude that for this shot, the occlusion of our character here makes it too hard for Wonder Studio to capture our character in the best way. So I'll go ahead and go back to our other project and we'll check on it and see what it looks like. Here's our project, and we'll take a look at the render. So here we have our CG character where our live action one would be, and it's looking pretty good here. Clean plate is looking pretty solid. Character is looking good. I can sort of see some missing. So we're getting some issues here, which is interesting because it didn't look like a particularly tricky track, to be honest. You can see we're just missing a few frames there. Now the compositing and the lighting, and the black levels and everything look pretty good, but you can see that moment it loses our motion capture data and doesn't create our character for us. So that's interesting. I actually expected this one to be a little bit easier for Wonder Studio to create, but it turns out it doesn't give us the best results. So let's go ahead and export some of the data and take a look further, just so we can give it the benefit of the doubt and take a look at the Blender scene really quick, as well as the clean plate. So I'll save this in a new folder, and then I'll also save the clean plate as well. Now I'll go ahead and open up After Effects here, and we'll take a look at that clean plate data, see what it's doing for us. Again, I looked at the clean plate data on the last video as well, and it wasn't perfect. However, let's give it a second try here to see if it's going to be production level quality, or if it's just something that we can use for Instagram or something on a smaller screen like in the last video. Go ahead and open up our zip files here really quick. It's going to have a folder with a JPEG sequence for our clean plate. So we'll go ahead and find that here and import it into our scene. Grab the first file and let's take a look. Add this to a new composition and let's take a look what it looks like in real time here. It looks like the first portion of our video, the clean plate, is not working as it should. It's definitely something that we're just gonna have to redo. You can see all the blurriness, and it's definitely the grain levels aren't matching very well either. You know, it's not bad for a still frame, but something for a moving shot, it's not gonna work out for us, especially for a professional workflow. Let's take a look a little bit further here. It's one of these things where if you look at it frame by frame, it actually looks okay, but as soon as you look at it moving, there are definitely a lot of issues where you're just going to want to redo the entire clean plate unless you're viewing it on a really small screen. Let's take a look at the end here. You can see where the character is supposed to hit the mat here. It's not bad. It does an okay job for such a one-click solution, but at the end of the day, guys, probably still something that you're gonna have to just recreate entirely and just start from scratch if you want to use this in a movie or something that's gonna be viewed on a bigger screen. Even the beginning here has a fair bit of glitches on our character. You can see all these issues. It's really not removing our character at all. So not super impressed with this result. I actually thought it was gonna do okay for this somewhat more complex shot than our first test, but I think our clean plate is definitely not usable, and we just might as well just start from scratch. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Blender file and see what it has created for us as well. All right, so here we are inside of Blender, and as you can see here, we have our character model, which is object tracked toward our camera. And again, we have no camera track. Wonder Studio is still working on getting their camera tracking workflow to work properly, but this is our shot. You know, it looks pretty good here. Our character is aligned up with the shot, even though we can't reconstruct any geometry or anything. Still working okay here. I think there's a little stuttery. There's all this stutteriness at the very beginning, so it's not really doing a great job on the motion capture of our character here. In the middle, it's not bad. There are some usable moments up here, and you know, the animation where it catches our gymnast is pretty good, but you can see it just skips some frames there, so not super impressed with that. In my opinion, this is just more of an intermediate AI motion capture setup. I didn't think that just because she did a flip here, it would start losing her. So not super impressed with this. Again, hasn't tracked our shot either. So yeah, I think this kind of makes me feel like Wonder Studio would be good for very, very simple shots where, you know, the camera move is very minimal and the character movement is very, you know, standard, like somebody's walking or somebody's running, but no flips or anything crazy like that, where the algorithm has to analyze something a little bit further that might not be so normal for it. As far as the character goes, we do have to import our textures. So we go ahead and grab our textures from online here in the README. paste it here, and we can grab our character textures, because right now if we go into rendered view, you'll see that our textures aren't in our actual blend file. So let's go ahead and download those really quick. We can go to their site here and find Sandy. So go ahead and download our zip textures with Sandy. And we'll go ahead and open up these files. And to relink our textures to our 3D model here, we can just go to File, External Data, Find Missing Files, and then we can go to that folder where we have our textures and just click on Find Missing Files, and it should relink everything. So when we go into rendered view, our character is now rendering appropriately. And you know, the actual character model and rigging all looks pretty good. It's just a lack of the 3D camera track and the error in the whole motion capture process that makes me not want to trust this workflow very much. But one thing I do like about Wonder Studio is their ability to generate fairly good lighting. And they just do this, I guess, by recreating a gradient based on the live action shot and then putting that in HDRI form. So you can see if I go to film and turn off transparent, it's actually generated this HDRI with, I don't know what the cube is over here, but it's generating this HDRI that is lighting our character in a way that matches the live action shot. So as far as the compositing goes, it does streamline your workflow there. The environmental lighting looks pretty good. And it also creates a bunch of compositing nodes here as well for you. I went over this in the last video. It's something that gets you a result very quickly, but I also would probably start off from scratch and use their data on my own to make a better looking composite. But anyways, guys, this is our second test of Wonder Studio. We tested 2 shots in this example. The first one did give us an output with our gymnast. It created a decent track at certain moments of our scene, but also lost it at key moments as well, especially when our character did the flip. It really didn't hold up to scrutiny. And also the clean plate on that shot didn't really work on a professional level as well. The second shot didn't work at all inside of Wonder Studio. Unfortunately, it seems like there was too much occlusion from foreground elements, so I didn't actually get far enough to actually export anything. But anyways, guys, Wonder Studio is a cool technology. However, for using it in more intermediate or just shots that have a little bit more idiosyncrasies and are not perfectly normal movement, it doesn't really work out as well as I'd like. Anyways, guys, that is it for this video. I hope it was helpful. As always, feel free to leave a comment if you have any questions or suggestions in the comment section below. Subscribe if you're interested in more visual effects and filmmaking content, and I'll see you next time.